Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Storytime. I have a great book and a great snake to show you this week. First, I'm going to show you the snake, but also I just kind of want you to see how I color-coded everything this week. I have a cool pink shirt on, and then I was able to match it with a purple snake and a purple book. So, I don't know, not something I do very often, but I thought it was kind of cool that everything coordinated today. So with me, I have a Sunbeam snake. A Sunbeam snake is a genus of snake that only has two species in it, Xenopeltis. And this snake is found in Southeast Asia, so throughout basically Indonesia, China, Vietnam. And this snake loves to live in marshy areas and rice paddy fields. So because of that, the snake has some very unique features. First, it's got a very, very narrow head and kind of a flat head. And if you look at that, you'll see that like this snake is kind of built for being able to sift through everything. So when it's sitting in thick vegetation, it's gonna have the ability to move all those things out of the way. So this also helps with its hunting because this snake is very opportunistic. That means it's kind of a garbage disposal. It doesn't really care what it eats. So it's hunting rodents, and it's hunting fish and amphibians and lizards and other snakes. Basically whatever it can come across, the snake will try to eat. Now it's mainly known for the iridescence in its skin. You can kind of see how the light refracts off of his spine there and creates that rainbow effect. That's how it gets the name Sunbeam, because it looks like sunbeams refracting and reflecting and all kinds of other stuff. They're very, very docile snake, but unlike most snakes, they kind of like it a little bit cooler. We don't keep them in like the 70s or 80s like we do like some of our jungle snakes. We actually keep these guys about mid 70s. If they start to get too warm, they stress out and then they don't like to eat. They're very, very laid back. As you can see, he's not super active. He's just kind of chilling out. Just doesn't like his face being touched too much, so he's got to be careful of that. Other than that, very, very cool snake. Now, they'll come in various shades of browns and purples, and albino ones are actually pink. So this is really, really unique. Something else that makes the snake different from most others is that the snake actually has two lungs, not one. Most snakes only have one pair of functional lungs. This one has two lungs, so that makes it different. But also from a skeletal standpoint, it has a different type of body than the majority of snakes, and that's because it's an old world snake. Old world snakes are more primitive. They've been around longer, so that puts this guy in this category. But that makes him a very, very cool snake, and not something you see very often, but one that we're very, very happy to have here at work. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and read The Ugly Doodles by Valeria Wicker. And this is a super fun story about a girl learning to draw after she goes to the museum. So, with that, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hi, buddy. Why don't we get you wrapped back up on my hand? There we go. We'll do this. We're gonna go this way with the book. That way, like, there's not as much turning around of it. So, one trip to the museum was all it took for Raven to fall head over heels in love with art. She wanted to turn her bedroom into a gallery of her own masterpieces. If only she could make one. Just one masterpiece. She sketched and sketched, but her doodles were never quite right. Sometimes it seemed like the harder she tried, the worse they turned out. Dozens of ugly doodles dotted her bedroom floor, almost calling for Raven to fix them. Mom was not happy. Raven, no more drawing until this room is tidy. So she did what she had to do. That night, Raven was determined to create her first masterpiece, but other things got in the way. Raven, come downstairs for supper. Raven, it's time to get ready for bed. Raven, you need to brush your teeth. And that was when she noticed something disturbing. A half-drawn, smudged-up doodle had found its way to the mirror. At bedtime, something crunchy poked her under her blanket. Raven tossed the doodle aside, only to find another. Under her pillow, one more, two more, then 3, 4, 6, 9, 12. There were oodles of doodles, all staring at her with crumpled, half-drawn, smudged-up, creepy-looking gazes. They were everywhere, except under her bed where she had put them. Raven stuffed the doodles somewhere else and went back to bed. In the morning, she was ready for some serious drawing time, but Oh, you're okay. You're okay, buddy. You like the feel of my beard. There they were again. The Doodles had to go, and Raven knew just the place. She put them in the attic, where Mom and Dad put all their ugly stuff. There. On her way back from the attic, Raven heard a shuffling noise coming from her bedroom. Creak. She opened the door, and there they were, all in their scrawled, scratched up, sketchy-looking glory. They were mocking her. Raven was done dealing with their nonsense. She shoved them into a bag and delivered them directly to the recycling center. The Doodles were finally gone. She was free. When she returned home, she checked every nook and cranny of her room. There were no Doodles in sight. Raven could finally focus on creating a masterpiece. But when she opened her sketchbook, she realized she was all out of drawing paper. Oh, rats. Luckily that night, Dad brought her a treat. A brand new box of drawing pads made from 100% recycled paper. Raven was thrilled. Until she opened the box and they were back. They were hideous, miserable looking, mess-ups. But the more Raven looked at them, the more it was apparent. The Doodles needed her attention, maybe some love, and definitely a body part or two. You poor things. Raven grabbed her supplies and gathered up the Doodles. She erased and corrected, retraced and connected, filled and perfected. Wow, not bad. And eventually, the Doodles were finished. Raven had her very own gallery of masterpieces. Now you are picture perfect. Maybe every masterpiece starts with an ugly doodle. The end. This is a great book about how you need to not give up on something just because it's hard. If you want to be a master at something, you have to practice. You have to take the time to do it and learn the craft, and learn from your mistakes, and keep going. You can't just create a masterpiece out of thin air. That'd be like trying to pick up a guitar and instantly create the greatest rock song of all time. You can't just pick up a paintbrush and create a Van Gogh right out of thin air. Everybody who's an artist, no matter whether they're a dancer, or they do drag, or they use charcoal, or they use pen, or they play guitar, or bass, or drums, or they get a drum machine. All these people had to practice at what they were doing, and that's how you become a master at it. But you never stop learning. So, you don't want to give up on something just because it was hard or you didn't think it looked good at first. You have to put the time and effort and love into it, and then you can be an expert. So, I hope you learned a lot from the Ugly Doodles, and I hope you learned a lot about our Sunbeam snake. So, we will see you guys next time.